Hello. I've always intended to do LeanWolf's Better Shaped Weapons and do a spotlight on it, so I'm going to do that. Kind of doing this at random, I know. But I've looked, you have to go to the Nexus really to get a decent description of what it actually does. If you look at it here and from what everybody tells you, you would think that it modifies all the weapons in the game. It does not. Okay, it does modify some arrows, and it modifies a lot of the swords, and some, not a lot, but some axes. Now, I'm only going to do and show you what it really mainly does, which is the swords for the categories that I've written down. And I'm not going to cover probably every little thing. It does make the swords look better, I believe, but we're going to take a look at each sword and see what we think. It's a very small mod, and it's just meshes. So I'm not sure, when I say very small, I mean it's under 25 megabytes, and it is by LeanWolf. I mean, it's not by someone else. It's not a port. So, from what I remember, because I've been using this for a little while, and I just hadn't said anything, but I've had it in this load order for a while. From what I remember, the swords are looking good, and I wondered, if it affected anything else, and we'll have to see. Now, it does not affect textures. It only affects the mesh, so the shape of the sword, okay? Or the axe. There are some axes or battle axes that it affects, but not a lot, okay? So I'm not even going to go there. You'll have to go look that up if you want to know everything that exactly it does. I don't like to have to get into that kind of detail. They could have easily listed what it affects right here in the description. It's not that much. So, I will show you when we get in the game. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that in this case, this description, while it sounds like it has some information, it makes it sound like more is changed than is. And it would have been good to list out exactly what it changed so that we would know. Because on the Xbox, it's a little harder for us. It's not impossible. You can go look up things on the Nexus, even if you use Internet Explorer or Edge on your Xbox. You can do it. But it's a little annoying. Now, let's see, is there anything else? No, we're going to go, and I'm going to make these swords up on somebody. I don't remember who right now, and we'll take a look at them, and we'll see how they look, okay? So I'll see you in the game in a minute.
Captain's log supplement.
Alright, we're here on Elris, and I just made up all the swords so we could take a look at them for the LeanWolf's Better Shaped Weapons. It's really mainly swords. It does affect some axes. I didn't go through and do the axes. I really just did swords here, because you can see mainly, I can tell you the main difference in them is that they're a little thinner, less wide, so they look a little more realistic in that sense. Now let's go past some things here. Some of these things might be affected, like the Blade of Woe, but I don't remember all of that. Now here the Daedric Greatsword, it's a little less wide than the vanilla version, if you can tell that. That's what it should be. Now, it's mainly swords and some axes, okay? And what they did was primarily tried to shape it in a little bit more realistic look. Like Dawnbreaker here is not as wide. Remember, I had one of my guys carrying it a lot for a while, but this is definitely a less wide, a thinner version, which actually looks very nice. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not sure if this is actually different. It probably is. I know that this is. Look at this. This is a little less wide, a little better shape. Really, if you look at all these weapons, I'll tell you one thing that's wrong about these. All the weights are wrong on these weapons. No one could ever use weapons this heavy in real life. We won't get into all that, but it's just a fact. Okay, so the Dwarven Greatsword, I'm not sure if it's much different, but look at the regular sword. There, I can definitely tell a difference. It is definitely less wide, thinner, a little more realistic. Oh, I forgot to tell you, the arrows, they did extend the length of the arrows a little bit. I don't know how much that matters or how much you would see that. The Ebony Greatsword, you can tell that it has an edge to it. It looks, I don't know, I think it looks a little better. And the Ebony Sword, too, just looks a little better shaped. I don't know if this is really enough. Here's the thing, the mod is not very big. So if you like the way it looks, there's definitely nothing wrong with it. But is it enough of a change? I don't know. You have to decide for yourself. The Elven Greatsword does look better. It looks like it has a good edge, and I don't know. Just overall, it just looks a little better. And the Elven Sword also. A little better. A little more narrow, less wide, which looks kind of strange. The glass swords also. The Greatsword there. And the regular sword here. Now this does affect Chillrend as well, because it's a glass sword basically. Let's see, the Imperial Sword is affected. If you can tell, there is a slight change to it. None of these are hugely changed, okay? This was not intended to be a huge change. This was just intended to be a slimming down, a making them look better, more realistic, and you can see here on the Iron Greatsword and the Iron Sword that's what they did. Not any great change on that perhaps, but nonetheless. The Nightingale Blade has been slimmed down a little bit. Again, this is like a minor change. It doesn't seem like a huge change to me. Okay? Let's see. Move on. The Nordic Greatsword. I don't know. I think that looks very cool. Seems like a good tweak. Here, this looks good. The handle wrapping looks wrong, though, compared to... No, it's right. Forget that. It's right. Forget it. I didn't say anything. Just ignore that. I can't tell any difference in the Orcish swords. It says it includes them. Maybe you can tell it. Maybe it's just me. I just don't see much difference. I don't pay a lot of attention to the Orcish swords, okay? So I'm going to be fair about that. The Stalrim swords, I think the Great Sword and the regular sword look good. And I think they look more trimmed down, I think, if memory serves. Because I remember thinking the Stalrim sword looked kind of fat and wrong. So... Now on the steel, I can't tell a lot of difference. I'm just going to be straight with you. I'm not saying there's no difference. I'm saying I can't tell a lot of difference. And maybe the idea was to slim it down but not make a big difference out of it. So there you go. That's all the swords for LeanWolf's better shaped weapons. Okay, that's all the swords. You'll notice I do have some battle axes in my inventory, but I'm not sure... Because only a few axes are affected, and I'm not sure. It seemed like maybe... Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I don't remember. You'll have to look and see. If you think the change to the swords is good enough, then you might also like the change to the axes, if there is any change. I'm not even sure if there is change to a lot of these axes. So... and they only list a few that are changed. They do mention lengthening the arrows, and I guess in the quiver, I think they meant. And if you'll notice, I have some arrows, which I tried to show, and they might look a little longer. I don't pay enough attention to that type of thing, and I'm not sure that it really matters. But I will tell you, this is a small mod. If this affects a sword you like, say like if you really like the Ebony Sword and you think this looks really good, then it's worthwhile. Same for the Stalrim. If you really like the Stalrim sword and you use it a lot, or the Nightingale Blade and you like this version, the mod is small enough that it is worth your while. Okay? For me, overall, I don't see a huge difference. I'm not sure that I care that much. But... it's still a good mod. There's nothing wrong with it. And what you have to do is subjectively look at it and say, hey, do I like these shapes better? And that's what you have to go by. So, let me hop out and show you the mod again.
Up your shaft.
Alright, I decided not to jump all the way out, but this is LeanWolf's better shaped weapons. That's what we've been looking at. Let me show you on the list here. Oh no, they don't have... That's the problem. They don't have the description here. I had to go look up the description to see what it affected. It does make the weapon slimmer and more realistic looking, you know. So it does do that. It does a good job. It's LeanWolf's better shaped weapons. It's under 25 megabytes. Now it just depends on what weapons you like to use and whether or not the difference is, it's a subjective thing. Is the difference enough that you enjoy it? A lot of people really like this mod and the shape of the weapons. So it's just meshes, it's just the shapes of the weapons. So it's not going to affect your textures. You can still use whatever textures you want. If you use a different weapon replacer, then you probably won't want to use this. Or if you'd like to couple this with another weapon replacer, put this below your other weapon replacer if you want to do like a mashup, but you want this one to have priority. Because I could understand that, because this one does not affect every weapon. It doesn't affect all weapons. It affects almost all swords, it seems like, and it affects some axes, but not a lot. Okay? I don't think it affected anything else, not hammers or anything, so that was kind of odd, but I didn't see anything about hammers or that being affected. Now, I looked it up on the Nexus. If I saw some misinformation or if I misunderstood something, that's a possibility, but this is a pretty small mod, so I think what I saw was correct. It affects a lot of swords and just a little bit of other stuff, like it affects the arrows a little bit, it makes some of them look a little longer. Okay, so that is LeanWolf's better shaped weapons. I want to thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you later.
Stop right there, criminal scum!